Welcome to Defense Politics Asia, the Open Mic channel. Today we're going to have a post-open mic recording, also known from the private Telegram group called the Open Mic Lounge. So we're just going to call it the Lounge Mic. Here we're going to be doing pretty much what we do on the Open Mic, but it's going to be anchored on a few topics that we have prepared, so in an attempt to be a little bit more orderly. The topic of today that we're going to start with is how Ukraine wins the war. And the one who is going to start answering this question and providing Ukraine a winning strategy is going to be MisterLambo, please.
Yes. So I need to start speaking, and the question is, if everything going well for Ukraine, the perfect plan, and they are able to win against Russia, and everything went wrong since the beginning, and everything need to be, so I'm going to try to, my way of thinking, like Zelensky going to everybody, to every country to speak, asking for weaponry, asking for tanks, guns, planes, helicopters. I don't even think he asked after helicopters, but and my strategy is working. The problem is everybody waited too long. Actually, if like United States say directly, yeah, we're going to provide you everything, we're going to put a team to train every soldier you need to have trained. We're already going to have more than 100 tanks after 1 or 2 months in Poland to be trained by Ukrainian military, to have extra tanks, the planes exactly the same. And then you can be a good game changer. Of course, the biggest game changer about that war now are the drones. And that is why Russia had learned about the mistakes, and they use also drones. But even if they didn't like have cooperation with Iran and other countries, and Ukraine got more drones than Russia, for me it's going to be easy to say that Ukraine had maybe a bigger advantage in these things. Like the same for F-16s. If you have F-16s inside of Ukraine very fast, and even you use like mercenary pilots of duty, not anymore in the American army or in Belgium army or in another army that have the F-16s, these guys can just pop in and fly these planes and can dominate in this power. Same for the air defense. If all the countries of the NATO provided Ukraine much faster air defense, they could be a bigger game changer in all these things. This is all these things that they needed to wait, because in the scenario you have now, Ukraine is still waiting after their planes, and it is way too late. Just way too late. That's what's happening for the moment. So in a good situation, they just needed to have everything much faster. Time matters, you know, time just matters. If they had everything much easier and earlier, that war could be a game changer, or even just sign a fucking contract with Putin and an agreement and go on the table and try to find solutions. All things they don't did until now on certain basis. So yeah, but even if you don't sign a contract, you need to provide that country if you want to help them. And just like what's happening now, they want to help them, but they just don't provide. They're discussing, well, are you going to give me tanks or not? How long Germany was busy to say, no, we don't going to give the Leopards, and then we're going to give the Leopards, and finally they give the Leopards, but way too late, one year too late actually. So for me, it's very easy. Just give it on time, and you had a better solution if you continue to do that war. So that's actually very fast explains my point of view, or what are big mistakes. But Russia is not stupid, you know. Russia learned about the mistakes that they did. So like the drones is a best example. They are now in front of them with the drones. If they didn't have Iran to provide them drones to like help, it could be game changer for Ukraine. So yeah, the good collaboration they have with Ukraine, with Iran, the good collaboration they have with China, made that the sanctions that they were given also to Russia from the Europe perspective or from the United States, Russia continue to do what they did even before the war. So it's China, Iran, and then making these decisions to do the same like Ukraine do, like with the drones, is a very big part of that war difference. So that's basically.
With that context in mind, how would you do it if you were Ukraine? Like how would you try to solve this predicament that you are in, or at the very least ameliorate it?
So, in my point of view, signing that deal with Putin, making an agreement, was already a war saver, a casualty saver. That was the first thing.
So, would you say the best way that Ukraine can win, the only way Ukraine can win, is by surrendering?
To a vote on casualties, yeah. If they don't want to give their land.
But if you aim for the impossible here, aim for the impossible, so you can find out why it is impossible. You're Ukraine. You're going to win this war.
You want to win this war. You don't have an agreement. It's definitely not going to be an agreement. Then you need to have, as fast as possible, help for the good countries. Not only by, that was the thing, they got shelling, they got the ammunition very fast, but they didn't get the big material very fast. That was a big problem. So if Ukraine want to win that war, and you just start the war again, so you just start by zero, you need to have everybody from Europe, from the United States, or the allies of Ukraine saying, yes, we're going to help you directly. Just tell me what you need. We're going to send you 500 tanks. We're going to send you 200 planes. So fast as possible, with a good training for the soldiers. We're going to specialize some group of soldiers by very good training, long training, that they can, when needed, they can be sent off and push on European tactics. They're going to be a game changer, but everything came much too late. So if you want to win the war, you need to have a lot of material because you're fighting against the giants. And maybe if you have the good material very early, you can create a lot of casualties at your enemy. And that's going to make that maybe Russia is going to say, oh, we're losing too much. Is it a good idea to fight? No, because you're losing way too much. We are having very big difficulties because they got material sending on time. They have new tanks very fast, all no problem. And Russia at a certain point going to say, fuck, that's costing us too much money. We're going to retreat because they just getting more and more good material. Will be too difficult for us to fight against. That was the ideal plan, actually. Sending a lot very soon. Maybe not the planes, but like tanks, you don't need a lot of training to operate. And you already have a lot of tankers, but every tank you lose...
Can I add something to that?
Yeah.
Yes, on camera, please. On camera, please.
Can I add something to that?
Yeah.
Yeah, what I'm trying to add to that is...
Wait, Momiyeeni, I don't see you on the screen here.
I see him.
I see him.
See him? Yeah, he's very there.
He's not a ghost.
Oh well, because we had this issue on the previous recording where one person did.
I know he's black, but I can't see him. And
No,
he's smiling. He's smiling with white teeth.
Just look at the teeth, you see it. But yeah,
He's
No, I
definitely
think
there.
the Telegram problem. We had the same issue yesterday.
Yeah, but to comment on what MisterLambo was saying, he's right. If Ukraine receiving these billions of dollars, obviously the hardware they're receiving is coming late. If I was Ukraine, I would completely switch to drone making. It's cheaper and it's very effective. If Ukraine can try to beat Russia in the drone field, they have a chance of flipping this war. Remember, when the war started newly, with all the Ukrainian drone footage basically almost was a chaos among the Russian forces. They didn't have to respond. Once Russia flipped the drone warfare against Ukraine, that's when Russia felt a bit relaxed, was able to organize, were able to come back kicking very hard. Of course, Russia do have the resources, Russia do have better drones, but Ukraine have basically a pipeline of money that it can basically take overnight, and I've known the Ukrainians can basically copy what Russia is doing. These are now Global Hawk drones. These are just drones you can buy in the market. They can make in Ukraine overnight, open a very effective industry in Poland, take it across the border, and just start dropping mortars in every Russian holes and they can find it.
Yeah.
After again, you can make 1,000 drones for less than $1 billion. You can make maybe 100,000 more for the cost of $1 billion. You can do some very good damage to the Russian forward positions. So yeah, of course the Russian internal warfare. Yeah, the same radio signals the Russian drones flies on is the same radio signals the Ukrainian drone flies on. So if they block the Ukrainian drone signals, theirs will not fly either. So exactly, Ukraine can really flip this war if they focus on drones instead of focusing on Challenger, focusing on Abrams, and focusing on all these stupid things. The cost of that tank.
If you just looked on the news in the beginning of the war, the first year of the war, all the discussions about getting new weaponry, about the budgets, about everything, they lost a lot of time. Actually, it's the fault of the politics about that. If you just want to have a country, just provide what you have. And so many mistakes happened. Like you said in the beginning of the war, they had this drone supremacy. Ukraine was beating up the crap about Russia because they knew directly how to use these drones properly. And then Russia learned about the tactics of what Ukraine did, and they just flipped it, like you say. That was the biggest game changer, and it's still a game changer. It's a war of drones, actually. Yeah? No drones,
yes,
and that
but
war.
I have a question, Mr. Lambo.
Yeah.
Know that Israel is also a victim of the drone war. How many times is it going to last? Because at a point, and I think it's already in place, a lot of people are going to think very hard how to counter the drone war. And like we said earlier, though there is Israel in the mix, everything is becoming very serious, at least for the USA. So USA and Israel, we are very good with high-tech solution, are going to find very quickly a solution for the drone. And obviously this solution is going to be used in Ukraine. That could be for Ukraine a way to counter the Russian drone.
Yeah, and you did that last year. If you did that last year, and the problem you have now is lack of personnel. They lost too many people already.
Yes,
that's a big problem. That's a big problem.
The thing is just about the drone issues, right?
Yes.
To have a drone that is not using the openly accessible radio wave, you have to create something like a Global Hawk. You need a lot of electronics on board to have a whole different signal through satellite that you may control, which is why the Global Hawks and these other things, yes, they can do those things. But these drones the Russians are using, it's an open wave radio. Like anybody can jam it. Anybody can, even Ukraine can jam it if they have enough electronic warfare materials. They can jam the Russian drones. These are just open wave radio. This isn't like a Russia signal and encrypted signal for these drones. No, these are just common drones they buy from China and places and just think about. But the Ukrainian versions, sorry, even Iranian versions, I believe I'm not really reading to it, but I really believe it's another open wave radio signal that using another open spectrum that using for that communications. So it will be very difficult.
I firmly believe, you know, that for every technology you have a counter, basically. And the question is how many research you use, you do to find the right counter, the one that you could the battlefield. And with the Israel in the mix, the research is going to go now very fast, very quickly.
To control, right now, as I said, Ukraine can control the Russian drone, means also they cannot fly. Just imagine, the Russians are using the same signal, the Russians using the Russian warfare to basically control down some of the Ukrainian drones. But that same signal will block the Russian drones in the sky. it's the same jamming system. Of course, maybe somewhere in the future they'll find a way to separate the signals for their own drones. But again, that requires a lot of onboard electronics that can tie into that signal you're creating, make a drone more expensive and make it more bulkier. You can't do a multi or single use drone. It gets too expensive because you need some electronics on board that will basically ignore your jamming signal and only accept your enemy's signals.
Yes,
so you
I
have to
understand that.
Yeah.
But I still think that for every problem, you have a solution and the way that the research team could give you. It takes time, it takes energy, and so on. Okay, but it's doable.
Yeah, the solution is there
question,
today. The solution
so
is
it's
there
going
today.
to happen.
Yeah.
Because
The
now
solution is
that the
there.
Israeli needs them, it's going to be available very quickly.
Yeah. The solution is there today. But
Obviously, I'm playing the poor Ukrainian guy today, so that's my hope. For if I was a poor Ukrainian guy. So the
Yeah.
second point, I think, after the drone war, is the problem of the air war, because you need to be really a full NATO country. You need air power. It's an obviously thing for a NATO country. So the F-16 obviously is going to be piloted by a NATO masterpiece pilot, because honestly, one pilot are already dead or not good enough for F-16. So first, the problem is the air defense and the air combat. So you create basically a team with both kind of configuration for the F-16, with the elite pilot trained for the boss mission. And the key point is going to be the first night, when you have to destroy a maximum of radar defense system in Russia and Donbass, to be able to fly more easy, at least in this place. And after you have really succeeded to done that, the next objective is to try to end the radar airplane of which the Momiyeeni, I think that's the code name of NATO.
But
MisterLambo.
AWAC?
The AWACS, the Russian AWACS. It's a Momiyeeni, I think the code name. You are mute, MisterLambo. You are mute.
Is the T-50, the Illusion
This one.
76 T-50.
This one. You have to end them. Maybe with the F-16, or if the F-16 are too far or too complicated, you could just use some kind of sabotage groups to damage them on the airfield, like they already did for a lot of aircraft, of course.
Yeah.
And then there is the ground situation. That's the more delicate one, because there is less and less patriot in Ukraine. We have to acknowledge that. To go down on the front on the bench, it's very difficult to find new patriot. So for that, I don't have a good solution, except you could use a lot of air power on drone. But
okay, well, listen, yeah.
complicated. The ground situation is very complicated.
Yeah, the context
What
of air power,
you could use your superiority, your new superiority air power, to destroy a lot of Russian logistics and a lot of supplies, but it's just a long-term solution, and that short-term it's very complicated on the road.
Yeah, that's the thing I am
okay.
saying.
Air
It's just.
air power against a drone is not going to work. If
No,
the
I
drone
don't say
forces
that.
No,
have a-
For the
but
drone,
it-
you have to follow the Israeli solution. They are going to find them very quickly, and you just have to follow the solution.
Okay,
Yeah, and if you just
follow-
rewind, if you just rewind at the beginning of the war, the first months, they scared the Russians, because the Russians never expected to have that response of the Ukrainians, and after a while, Ukrainians started to lose also a lot, but they didn't have replacement for it, so they lost their planes more and more. They lost their tanks more and more, and nothing went to be replaced. Planes, because they had 10 years, they had 8 years at time. If you just look how much Sukhoi 25s they had in 2014 compared to 2021-22, they tripled the number. They prepared themselves for that. That was not enough. If they had like more help from other countries already also have the Sukhoi 25s, they could even double the number. Like Sukhoi 24s, they had, during the Soviet time, they had 120 planes. And at the start of the war, they just had, I think, beginning of the 20 planes. And during that 1 year now, they managed to refurbish, to make fly-ready planes. These are crucial planes also for bombing, to try to destroy strategic things of the Russians. The problem is Russia, they saw the problem and they fixed that problem. Like the drones. They started to use also the drones. They started to send, they stopped to send the planes inside of Ukraine to not lose themselves the planes also.
Yeah, what I'm saying is
this strategy. And
Ukraine propaganda. I don't believe all that. I'm a pro-Ukrainian today, so I don't believe all this crap.
Hold on, Shadowi. Hold on. What I'm saying is this, right? Yes, Russia could have air superiority, but if the Ukraine really employ full force drone attack on a forward motion, no matter how good your air superiority is, if your forward motion is not moving forward,
I totally agree with you, Momi.
You're basically.
But that's why you need to fight a new kind of war with the drone. You need new technology from Israel.
Yeah, I understand.
That's what I said. If you don't have that, you're going to lose. I agree with you.
Right now, for Ukraine to win, the Ukraine have to switch to basically drone warfare, full force. That will basically.
Yeah, you also need the air warfare.
Russia is also specialized in how do you call that? In electronic defense systems.
No, propaganda is not going to work.
It's
just a nice decoration for the T-80.
That is real.
Hey, you're too pro-Ukrainian, Shadowi.
No, hold on.
We have to do that. That's the aim of the topic. Today we are pro-Ukrainian.
Hold on, let me defend Ukraine. Just give me a minute. Let me explain this. Yes, the Russian will have air superiority, but a drone operator is not a battalion. It's one guy in this room flying drones out, dropping rounds on your tanks.
We know everything about drone war. You don't have
what they needed to do with the drones, make big drones, long-range drones, and sending to attack the Russian air bases to destroy all the planes.
That is too much.
I'm not sure you even need that. You just need a few commando to go to 20 meters of the military base.
Russia forward bases, the one close to you. Don't go in Russia. That's too much expenses. It's too much risk. They'll shoot it down. Maybe you can say maybe one drone every week. Before the front line, drone basically overwhelmed that front line with drone falling down from the sky on every ditch, every tank, every transport that's coming in. Like crumble that front line, leave the rear alone. Crumble, no matter how effective the air power is. There's one guy in this house. The air power will spend so much time in the air to hit one target. They're not going to send an aircraft against one drone guy. When you have thousands of them flying drones every minute, every hours against the Russian forces.
But you need to have, and that is a big problem if you compare to Second World War. What's happened to the Second World War? You had the military industry was at 1,000%. For every tank you lost, you got a new tank. For every plane you lost, you got a new plane. For every car you lost, you got a new car. For every soldier you lost, you got a new soldier.
And that's what I'm saying. So if you can destroy 10 tanks, 20 tanks a day from drones, that will cause a very huge problem for Russia.
Yeah, but Russia is able to replace them very fast also. And the problem that you need to have is like that production, like you say, for the drones, that you need to have a continuation of drones flying. So you need to have a military power, military industry that is at 100% of that problem. Look now at Europe and the United States, which factory is at 100%? None.
I mean, drone is cheaper, drone is quicker to produce a tank.
We're getting into a loop here. Wait, let me, because Momiyeeni, what MisterLambo is saying, that yes, Ukraine can do exactly what you're saying and can actually have quite a lot of sourcing from that, because in the West they can have actually drone production match up, unlike the military production. However, Russia is also able to match that. And so if you are Ukraine and you know that, then okay, you go with the drone thing, but then what? Because you know your enemy is going to be able to match that. And so I tend to think about, well, Ukraine has already been flirting quite a lot with these cross-border attacks. So would it be different if they were to be just doing widespread drone strikes across the border, but they are very specific ones? They are only targeting military. Because one of the things that you guys have kind of already alluded to, which everyone knows, Ukraine does not stand alone. Ukraine needs external support, right? Well, one way to do that is have Russia escalate. And they only have so much time to do that before the West will just say, well, okay, I mean, too late. You should have kind of done this earlier, maybe, or yeah. What do you guys think? Momiyeeni,
That's what I am trying to say. It's like if you're very fast in your attacks and you have continuation of.
Respect the finger. Momiyeeni has the finger, so we'll let it go.
Hold on. What I'm trying to get at is this: yes, the Ukrainians can do that rear attack, but they send many drones. Very few made it. It's a very long distance, and it's easily spotted. It's easily intercepted. The drone that goes that far also is very expensive. Drone that goes that far also take a lot of materials and know-how to manufacture. The drone that goes 20 miles, the drone that goes 10 miles to the front line, that's a cheaper and a more effective drone than drone that hit a military base in Moscow. The drone that's what.
No. You need to consider one thing. You need to consider one thing. You need to.
The drone that hit the forces in Adlivka is more effective than the drone that hits Moscow.
No. You forgot one thing. What did the Russians also do? That you need to try to avoid is that your own infrastructure been destroyed. What they need to do, and they did it a few times, they're sending drones to the air bases to try to destroy strategic bombers. In a good war, the first thing you try to do is to destroy all these dangerous things. So I need to do is first having also big drones that can fly long range, that destroying all these planes. So what's going to happening? You have less chance than like at the site of Poland, of Romania, to have your big factories, to have your big stock depots not being hit by these planes, by these cruise missiles. So what do you need to destroy? Strategic things. So you actually, the Zeta drones is good for the battlefront, but you need you really need to paralyze Russia. You need to make them afraid. If you have like 10 big drones that manage to go to an airbase and are managed to destroy the White Swans, we're going to take the Rolls Royce of their planes, of their bombers. These are the Tupolev 160. These are very expensive, very important strategic planes for the Russians. If you're able to destroy them, you're going to make Russia afraid, because they're going to lose a lot of money. It's the same thing if you're looking at the Second World War with Germany. Once they lost the Bismarck, the big battleship, they were afraid to use the torpedoes, so they hide the torpedoes in the Baltic Islands. It's the same with Japan. They had the Yamato class battleships. They're big battleships, the biggest in the world, 90,000-ton battleships. They sunk the Musashi, and then they hide the Yamatos as long as possible, and just at the end they do like actually a suicidal battle with the Yamato, because we're speaking about big money. If you're able to destroy, it's like the same of the Russian fleet. If you're able to destroy the big ships, the expensive ships, you're going to hurt the Russians very hard, and you're going to make them afraid and have more chance that the Russians are going to retrieve, because it's budgetary, very important, and strategic, very important. If you can destroy the big pions of the Russians first, like the bomb aircraft, the fighter jets, just the airfield, also the runways, you can destroy that. The ammunition depots, but you don't have them at close of the front. You need to go inside the country of Russia to destroy them. But you're going to make Russia afraid, and you're going to put a hold in a lot of strategic things. It's good to have a lot of drones. It's good for the front, But the front is not a really game changer. You need to consider now, and now this day, Russia is not even using their best weaponry. They are playing. But if you destroy their best weaponry, they're going to be afraid, because this weaponry they're using for other escalations that can be possible, like a Third World War situation. So if you manage to destroy all these big things, the factories, people, you can. It's a good game changer.
Yes, my turn. So I think you could do both your idea at the same time, because if you use infiltrated commando or spy, you could directly launch the small drone at 20 kilometers of the airbase. The airbase is 1,000 kilometers inside Russia. Okay, so the small drone solution is a good one, because we have already seen that Russia is vulnerable to infiltrated commando. So that's one point. Second point, the problem is not about the drone. The problem is how to counter the drone. Because whatever Ukraine do with drone, Russia could do worse. They have, very sadly, a lot of help from the Chinese and Korea and whatever you want. So they could build a lot. The first thing you need to do is to find a way to counter the drone. And since I'm today pro-Ukrainian, I know that Israeli is going to give me very soon a solution to do that. Okay? But once you are protecting the drone, you could adapt your drone to avoid this protection and to strike. Then we have your solution, Momiyeeni. Okay? But first you need to protect, then to attack. Or your fleet is going to be destroyed in a few months.
What I'm saying is this, yeah? Okay, just to answer that question. What I'm trying to say is this. Okay, maybe you'll understand, but just to emphasize on it. Of course, attacking those air bases, those planes, is very good. Ukraine have tried. As you can see, they were very unsuccessful. Those planes have long range. They can go further back in. The further back the Russian push those planes back, the more drones you have to build. They have very few success with those planes. As what I was trying to say earlier, well, before Shadowi said, exactly, they could infiltrate, instead of going shooting at the borders, they could go in, fly the drones 20 miles from those planes. No matter how far back you push into Russia, they can infiltrate on foot, go in, get close as possible, and drop this little all over Russia. Send these little drones like 10 miles in, bomb, and drop bombs on this airfield. It will basically create a huge panic in Russia. There's a bunch of Ukrainians all around Russia.
You lose your sound.
Yeah, I've seen your.
Momiyeeni.
Momiyeeni.
No sound.
I have a feedback, but I don't hear him. Yeah, Momiyeeni, we don't hear feedback.
Let's try something configuration. Okay.
Yeah, I have a question, like what he was saying, for example, about, because one of the things, like what you were saying, MisterLambo, you have to kind of take the Bismarcks and so forth, but one of the problems I see there is that naval assets don't really have much of a bearing into the war. And
no,
what would kind of come more into play.
Wait, let's first compensate question, Shadowi.
So because it's sort of like, oh yeah, we hear you, yeah. I was just responding to, because you were kind of like, you guys are talking about hitting back, right? You're using the drones to kind of find the most strategic assets where you get the most oomph for the least amount of effort, and you have to kind of do more of that before the Russians are able to kind of retaliate worse. This is kind of how I'm gauging the discussion and so forth. And I would just say, like, one of the more obvious obstacles that the Ukrainians have is that their air force is getting peppered down without engaging the Russian air force. They're taken by the air defenses. And that suggests that they also do lack missile defenses and so forth. So the compensation with the drones I would kind of, so I'm wondering like a couple of things here, because I would kind of imagine that they would recognize this and try to target the anti-aircraft, but are unable to do so, not just because they lack drones. And the second thing is, are drones useful for anti-aircraft? in the same way as like howitzer shells and such have like the extra rocket charge to extend and to boost them towards at the end. Can one do something like that with a drone? Yeah, Shadowi,
Why
please.
not?
No, I think with the drone, the cheap drone, okay, not the expensive one. The cheap drone is already a closer support system, okay, not anti-air or anti-air defense. That's what I think. But when the F-16 are coming with the elite NATO trained pilots, and if they are configuration for SEAL mission, basically to destroy air defense, that's the first job they have to do. Destroy Russian air defense to allow them to fly more freely in the area. The first job is to do that. The second job is to combat the Air Force of Russia, because the Russian Air Force is going to try to protect the front line also, like the air defense. You have to fight on the both sides, against the air defense and against the Air Force. That's the first battle of the F-16. And it's going to be a very complicated one. And I have another idea. Once you have taken control of the air defense or on the Air Force, you could ask for USA to give you the old I-10. The I-10 are not used by USA now, and they are very, very good aircraft for ground support. So with just a pilot, you could use them to help on the front line. But honestly, Momi was right, the drone are going to do the same job way better. If there is no defense against the drone, but that's the problem, I think. At a point or another, a defense is going to come, and all the cheap drones are to be useless.
Giving them an A-10 is a good replacement for a Sukhoi 25, for example, because you're the same type of planes, same duty.
First, you need the air control. Because the A-10, if you don't have air control, it's going to be difficult.
You need to destroy the air defense, and for that you're using the drones. But like if you're just looking what's happening with Ukraine, they lost a lot of ammunition depots. We saw big bang videos, but the huge bang videos, they were ammunition depots. There were material in it that they could use. So they lost a lot, and a month or two time they lost a lot. And that is because these strategic bombers were able to launch their cruise missiles. They were able to launch the Kinzhal missiles by the MiG-31s, the Tupolev, the Bears, and the Tupolev 22. They could use them perfectly from the other side of the border, launch the cruise missiles, return back to the airport, and nothing happened. Only they destroyed a lot of things. So that's why I'm saying just look away. And you can do that by infiltrating the country, launch small drones to destroy the airfields, the airplanes on the airfields, or using long-range drones, doesn't matter. You just need to destroy these planes. If you want, as pro-Ukrainian speaking guy, if you want to make a difference against Ukraine, you need to destroy these planes, because these were planes that make a very big difference. And you are also, if you don't have these planes as danger, then you should use their fighter jets, more vulnerable. They need to go almost inside the country, and for some part of things, they need to go inside the country to reach their targets, because their missiles doesn't have the range.
And then the F-16 could shoot them down with the new long-range.
Exactly, and then you can use your F-16, of your Saab Gripen, of your F-18. These planes, you can use them to protect all your vulnerable things inside of Ukraine. And that is what I'm saying, that didn't happen. After a while, Russia found a way to do their attacks and destroy everything. And the
problem is the ground battle.
That's the hypersonic.
Yeah, Mr. Lambo, what you're saying is, it's a scenario where Ukraine may have those abilities. Of course, is good, but currently, Ukraine is basically behind on all those abilities.
Yeah, but we need to speak from day one. We don't speak about day one.
We have to find a solution for the today's situation.
Yeah, for today, for Ukraine to win today, those options are very limited.
That's why we are and the Israelis don't defend.
So from now, like then I'm going to completely agree with FCS. is to put the focus on to have as much possible drones, and try also, and like same tactic, and continue to say same tactic, try to infiltrate inside of Russia and try to destroy these bombers, because they are still alive, they are still flying, so you need still to destroy them, and that's still important.
And they have very long range, so we can push them further in. But if you infiltrate Russia and fly them just down the street from the airport, you bomb the airport. If you bomb the airport in Siberia, you take claim for it. That's gonna trigger some Russian panic. Like, how the hell is this?
Exactly. Is that what you
and they have to use some air defense system to protect all the airbase, and that means there is going to be less air defense system in Donbass.
Yeah. So if you use it, you can ask, if you are really hitting Russian forward momentum, they're forward. Those guys in the front line, you're basically making them so they cannot move. You're pinning them down. If you do that for continuous 3, 4, 5 months, this thing will change. Of course, Russia will destroy but if you are attacking Russia infrastructures, they will destroy Ukraine to every bit. But no, if you're attacking Russians' forward momentums and randomly hitting the air bases and military bases around the country, not that stupid thing of flying drone into the skyscrapers in Moscow. That was stupid. Just get some men. They can cross easily. Russia is not restricting Ukrainians. Ukrainian intelligence can cross that border, go inside Russia, and fly these drones.
The Kremlin, because how many air defense systems is around the Kremlin? No, a lot, obviously. So they have to take them from somewhere.
Well, can I just point in the natural response of Russia here? Because let's say Ukraine was able to now be successfully hitting the air bases and many of the important supply dumps and whatnot. They forced Russia's hand, like, okay, we can no longer just sit back and let them come here and force them and provoke them. We cannot hit them. We can, sure, we might take down 1 or 2 airplanes, but what does that help when they are striking us here and there with drones and miscellaneous way? They had deep reconnaissance groups who are able to make the drones hit even worse. Okay, now we got to make a push. We got to make a distance and a buffer zone, right? This is something that, look, if you are successful here, we are Ukraine right now, you are successful with that, we can expect the Russian ground forces to be more enforcing. So what will we do?
No, it's not going to happen.
Then you come at the tank.
You have to remember that the Russian army is a very bad quality army. They are not able to make offensive. If they don't have Wagner to help them, they are going to lose, basically. So they are just going to defend and to try with human wave, obviously, to fight against our valiant troops on the front line.
So talking on the since we were on the economic side of using drones instead of heavy weaponry, so you're suggesting that when the inferior Russian troops are approaching, we save the bullets and use shovels instead.
No, what I'm saying is that the Russia is not going to attack. If they have logistical problems, they are not going to attack.
No, but the thing is, like,
for them.
wait, Shadowi, like, if the planning here works, right? Because we have the element of surprise. We have acquired the NATO with drones and everything. We have hidden it up and stockpiled it. We prepared this. Now the Russians, they think we are beat because we have expended so much on these offensives. But then we go after the air bases and we go after the biggest logistic dumps.
I think what we have to do.
And then the Russians will be forced to respond.
They are not going to respond because their commander are just stupid guys. Maybe in some localities they're going to try stupid things like they try in Voleda or in the river crossing in the north. And basically we are going to destroy them, okay? With all the drone and everything. But what is going to happen is we could eat all the supply and all the things they need for the winter. The morale troops of the Russia during the winter in Ukraine is very hard. It's going to be very low, you know. And we have to night for of course, the spring offensive with the mud, you know, the famous Ukrainian spring offensive with the mud to counter-attack when they are not expecting us to do it. But first, we have to wait for all the winter to destroy what is left of the Russian morale. And when the morale is very low at the spring, we attack with the mud.
Collecting the tanks, collecting new artillery.
Exactly.
collecting.
You use the winter to build a new army, basically, and to lower the morale of the Russian army by bringing the supply, and then we strike at the spring.
Would this be concomitant with cross-border attacks into Russia as well to make sure?
No, you don't that. You just command a group to attack the airport and the supply base.
And also, instead to have
Russia make any since the end of last year, every time Russia make any aggressive forward movement, you see how they get pounded, right?
Yes.
They've tried this like 3 or 4 times. They get pounded very hard. They do have the ability to advance, definitely. But if they get triggered by Ukrainians or they want to create a buffer zone, that will just give them more weakness. Because you could just hit everything that moves. That will actually cause more chaos in their movement than if they remain steady and wait for it to come for them. But if they try to move to create a buffer zone, they'll make it worse. Ukraine have even with 200,000 men. If they really organize and go drone, they can seize, even if they can't get into Russia, but they can make sure that front line in Ukraine doesn't move any further. But if they go off of that Abrams, Leopard tanks mentality, they will lose the entire Ukraine. They cannot. So me right now, I'm not defending Ukraine right now for the first time. Not defend Ukraine, but come from the position of Ukraine. If Ukraine winning this war is not $3 billion aircraft. It's not F-16. F-16 is not going to survive a month in Ukraine airspace. Russian will take it down.
You are a Russian guy. Of course, F-16 is a solution.
What are you telling?
He's the traitor.
But on a serious note, right? Because what we're talking about here is like, if you guys are saying basically that Russia's hand cannot be forced, even if you're going for the airbase and supply dumps, because they will cause even more chaos, right? Or they will just not dare to do so, and so forth. Well, the natural thing that they would do then is to fortify those assets and make sure that the continuous attacks will not have much more effect.
So the thing in the ideal situation, so Russia don't have her big bombers anymore. They all been destroyed by the excellent work of our Ukrainian soldiers, the drone operators. They perfectly managed to destroy the biggest parts of these bombers, and they take a while to replace. And they don't going to get that maybe from China, but these pilots also need to have training to have new planes.
North Korea.
North Korea. Oh, the old
Russia.
Heavy bombers from North Korea, of course. And don't forget, I'm sure that Iran has big bombers too.
Let me speak. So what's happened? Russia is in a big delay with their cruise missiles. And also, you don't need to forget, Ukraine attacked. They learned from the lessons. They not attacked with 10 sea drones on the Black Sea. But they used a lot of drones, jet ski. They made them of drones with jet skis because it's cheaper, full of bombs, and they managed to destroy a lot of ships. So the Russians also are afraid to get closer. Sevastopol is a big hell because the storm shadow tactic worked very well. They destroyed the whole harbor, and they are afraid to put their ships anymore to Sevastopol. So you create a very big game-changing thing. These cruise missiles don't get anymore to the front line. You're not going to lose anymore some depots or some stock areas where your tank are, where your artillery are, where your weaponry are, where your ammunition are. There's a big difference. So what's happening? You can put everything closer to the front line. And if you're preparing a big an offensive or counter-offensive, you're able to start from closer. And you need to have the good, speaking with the United States and with Europe, to have not badges of 10 tanks at a time, to have the 100 at a time. You can attack with a lot of tanks. You can attack with much more artillery. It's going to be a very big game changer, just because Russia is afraid to use their bombers anymore. They just don't use them anymore because they're afraid, and it's get them a lot of money. Normally, if you're losing all these planes, normally Putin going to say, it's not worth it anymore. Normally, already for that only, if they're using their best ships, if they're using their best planes, they're going to be very afraid. And actually, with that, Putin is going to speak with Zelensky normally.
Yes.
Already.
And when he's on his knee, Putin, I mean, you are ready to negotiate. Maybe we could let them have Crimea, but that I'm not even sure, okay? But of course, we take everything in the bath and so on.
Well,
But of course, you also
just
need to consider
going
they're
back
never
to the
going to
thing.
use the nuclear weaponry.
Well, going back to the thing about the drones, because I think we have addressed the fact that, okay, you might get some momentum here and we can, but let's say the Russians don't take the bait. They don't let themselves be provoked into sending into the offensive, and they will now acquire also their own capability of attacking us with the drones, right? So what will be the next subsequent targets? Because I would be thinking, sure, you could go after military officer academies, for example. That's one way to kind of start getting a good effect, right? You could maybe
Please, serious. They don't train their officers. They have Russian army. For the officer, it's just go in and like that. It doesn't matter if you target Russian officer academy, please.
Right now,
well, okay, how about the negotiation part? You said negotiation. Well, one thing to prepare for negotiation will be wiping out those who are the most hardline against our terms. So if we get the ones who are most amiable to giving up and be surrendering, we just make sure all the other ones are wiped out, and then and try to make it look like an accident, so that they don't stiffen their resistance and acquire more of their hardliners.
You make everybody think Putin will kill his own ally.
Copy, to answer your question earlier, what she asked, I said, what are they go for tit for tat? One day, since Ukraine doesn't have much left to destroy by Russia. Russia have a lot more than UK can destroy to cause a problem. Yeah. So all those bombers talking about, Ukraine doesn't have any more of those things to protect. All those infrastructures that are untouched in Russia, all close to Ukraine, all that Crimean zone. Ukraine doesn't have much left to destroy. Russia have almost destroyed everything. So, and Russia needs those bombers just in case America gets involved in a war. Russia needs those bombers just in case they need to join into the war. So Russia will protect those things with a negotiation. So Ukraine can really force them into somewhat a negotiation, but look at it was on their terms. Because if they go for tit for tat, Russia have more to lose than Russia. Russia have more to lose than Ukraine. Ukraine doesn't have much left to lose. They've lost everything. They've lost their manpower. They have lost their military hardware. Everything against aid. But $1 billion worth in drone can do more damage than $1 billion worth of tanks.
Okay, but this sounds very similar, because we have a concurrent conflict going on where there's one side that has nothing less to lose, and okay, so because here is one thing we already alluded to: the fortification of Russian assets to make them impervious against our drone attacks, and we will necessarily have to do the same to some extent, but we don't have so much to lose. What we can do, however, is start tunneling like crazy and make like the whole new cities under the cities and under the plains, and we can start digging ourselves down to Mariupol. So it didn't work so well when we tried to go through Robotina, but how about we go under Robotina, for example? Because the war is not going to be over anytime soon. We're not giving up.
After we're not
giving
the
up.
Russian army is going to crumble on themselves. You just have to send one badly and you are winning.
Yeah, but you forgot also one big topic is the manpower, and that's actually now for the moment the biggest problem for Ukraine. So how can you solve that problem? The manpower.
Maybe the Polish can lend us a few troops.
Yes, exactly. That's what I am going to say now. What you're going to do is you make a thing with the United States. You make a thing with we take the NATO. You make an agreement with the NATO. Actually, you fire a lot of your military officially, but in reality, they all became mercenaries.
Yes.
It's part of the plan. So they're still going to get paid by their own country.
Even better, we are going to give them Ukrainian nationality in 24 hours.
Yes, also.
So they
that
are
is also very good. So you're going to enlarge your army by 400,000 troops.
And they are going to be very good troops because they know how to use Bradley, Abrams, Leopard, and so on.
Yeah, and they can fly F-16.
On F-16.
Yeah. That's the ideal plan. So actually, you're doing a Third World War without doing a Third World War.
And they all have Ukrainian passport.
Yeah, they're all Ukrainian or mercenary or...
Even better if you consider that most of the refugees are Ukrainian females that might have just married these men recently, so they might have brought their Ukrainian wives along with them.
That's just a good news for the
Yes,
the better
advent
of
of
the
the single
soldiers.
man.
We are
Russians
horrible.
used to be poor. They just
That's
give
becoming horrible.
Forced marriage.
Look, if people
No,
go
it just
empire,
not even. It just has to be like on paper, and heck, you could even probably pay someone who is already like, because we have economic issues. So well, okay, well, hey, how about we funnel through this military aid here? You pay this woman to sign this paper, and we have this person kind of we fix the documentation
Don't
for
need
that.
that. If they want to give someone a passport, they're going to give someone a passport.
Right,
Just
but they
you
are
need to have
Ukrainians,
them.
right? And we gotta have some Ukrainian wives. We gotta try to make it believable. I mean, look at it. What Zelensky is doing right now, it's not really working that much anymore. So we kind of have to up our strategy a little bit. We gotta get the ladies involved.
Just to give them a passport is good enough.
Look, we have already Zelensky have already started allowing women to go into the front lines. So we would also eventually be needing more women into the front lines. And so why not just get them? We have mechanisms for that. We should think about that just to make sure that manpower or woman power, I guess, also stays in order.
Yeah, and just consider
Don't go in
Shadowi.
this direction.
Shadowi, just consider having the whole issue étrangère from France with the Ukrainian nationality of being mercenary. All these guys, that's one of the most crazy army guys that you have in the world. Having
there is
these
already
guys
some
fighting in
Ukrainian
Ukraine.
Oh, but you're touching on a good point there. I have been wondering, why the heck haven't we seen more of those American private military contracts? Like, why is there so much fuss about the Wagner, and the only thing we heard about Mozart was like, oh, we made a military group for that, but a private military contractor for that, but they don't really actually play much of a role as far as
I think it's because they have a
already
brain.
have in the Azov.
No. The military private contractors don't want to go to Austro wars because most of them are world soldiers and they understand how dangerous this war is. And there is not enough money for them to go there.
Yeah, but if you can give them the same weaponry they have, the same gear, the same thing, but just you're not fighting officially for your own country, you're fighting for Ukraine. Stays the same.
There is a difference. If you use soldiers, basically Polish soldiers, that's not a problem because they have to obey orders. But private contractors, they could refuse the contract.
Yeah, but that's why I'm saying using real military.
Yes, of course. In this case, yes, you could do that.
So
You give them a true official passport of Ukrainian nationality.
exactly.
And, let's go
and
to the
how
fight.
they do it, I don't care. They can marry if they're single. They can marry beautiful Ukrainian women because they are beautiful.
If they want.
So it's perfectly possible.
It could be some
But
kind
yeah,
of
that's
an
actually
traps,
the
you know.
best tactic you can do, and they already know their gear. They already know how to
Exactly.
You don't need to train them from zero to fly an F-16, to fly an A-10, to fly an F-18, to drive a tank, to use the artillery system, to use the Patriot system, because that's also a big
let's be
error.
honest. For the Patriot system near Kiev, you know, the one who was shooting everywhere.
Yeah, it was
obvious that it
mode.
was US personnel inside the Patriot system.
No, I
or
heard
German personnel. I don't know, but it was NATO guys who was in the command in the control of
the
the
Patriot
system.
system you can operate in two versions, manually and automatically. And if you're doing automatically, you have a squirting like they did these 32 missiles in 2 minutes. That was in automatic mode.
Ah, okay.
They just took the first target they saw. Yeah, it's automatic. They take the target, they shoot. They don't make a difference between small and big, or I don't know the system perfectly, but what I was told, it was in automatic mode. So, but in a
Like
situation,
the system.
you use our own military, and you can also use Polish military. I think Poland has Patriot system also. Yeah, you just have the guys that had a good formation for it, that didn't go trained for 2 weeks or 1 month. You just got the guys that went 2 years, already 5 years on the tank or something like that.
What is the best way to do it? Is you send the whole division, so they could keep the same command structures, the same operation system, the same organization, basically. Okay, so they train together, they work together, they do everything together. They are very strong together. and could easily breach the weakened Russian front line by the winter and the loss of supply and all the problem and so on.
And just
And
keep
you
it
could be on the
secret,
other scene in
because
3
if
days.
you're telling on the news you're going to fire some people and give them another identity, and that's a big problem also. Too many comes in the media. Too many
What?
things come in the media.
No, you just say it's Polish volunteers and that's all.
Yeah.
There's no problem with that. Everybody knows that it's already Polish volunteers, so a lot less, a lot more. Who cares? And
But for me, it's a bad
obviously,
solution.
don't forget, everybody is watching Israel now. So we are free to do what we want.
Yeah. 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 For me, that's a solution, and that can fix the problem because you have more personal experience.
And you just need
personal-
a very good unit to breach all the 6 defense line that remain before Azov-Sea. That's all.
Yeah, and even consider if you use 50% of every special force for every NATO country they have, the best trained military.
No, because special forces, or you could use them in Russia to destroy
Yeah,
the
of course.
things.
Of
But
course.
I think Ukrainian is better for that because basically an Ukrainian is a Russian.
Yeah, I
You
think it
don't
would be
in Russia.
problematic to send the special forces into Russia, because if they were to be killed and caught and whatever, and they will be ultimately identified, that would be
Yeah,
the,
but if
our
it's a
allies would probably
Ukrainian,
not be keen on
yeah.
taking that risk. But unless we have provided them with a Ukrainian passport and a wife and address and all that
yes,
kind of
yes,
stuff,
yes, yes.
then
But
maybe
For the
maybe.
infiltration in Russia, I think Ukrainian troops, Ukrainian spy and the special forces are way better than
Well,
NATO
I mean,
special
a
forces.
clear limitation with this kind of special forces that we're getting from abroad is that they wouldn't necessarily have to know Russian, but you would at least have to have someone in every unit that knows Russian, so they can kind of navigate, especially if you want to
Yes,
send
but
them.
it's more risky if you don't have a guy who understands the Russian way of thinking. So
No,
just choose
that's
Ukrainian
that's
guys. It's better. And you don't need really special forces. You just need the guys who are able to go to 20 kilometers of the Russian base. Okay? Basically, you
The
open
AD
the
staff,
track
actually,
and all the one move away to the target.
Actually, you unlocked maybe one of the personnel problems you comment regarding like private military contractors and so forth. If they are given they're given officer position that are very juicy, but then we can kind of offset some of the costs with such operations by having our own, which are free. So they can that way we might have because the thing is that you will need someone who speaks Russian, or you will at least need someone who's well trained, all that kind of stuff. It will narrow down from all the special forces that our allies might be willing to provide, and of those who are willing to take such an operation, then to make it more likely that we get more, because we will need to have enough manpower to actually make it oomph, right? So we must provide most of the manpower, and somehow they must be leading, I guess.
I think there is a misunderstanding. You don't need special skills for this mission. Okay, you need people who can blind in the Russian population.
Yeah.
So it's more a spy job than a special forces job. All you have to do is to drive a truck 20 kilometers of a military base.
Okay,
So you don't need to
you can
kill
also
people, you don't need to infiltrate a base, nothing like that.
you can also pay pro-Ukrainian Russian citizens very well,
Exactly.
and giving them the job.
You drive the truck to a meeting point Russia, and the guy does the last part himself.
Yeah.
And
And
once
that
you open
way-
the truck, the drone goes their own ways and go to the target. You
And
just
that way
have
we
to
can
switch a button.
And we can sort part of the unemployment problem, because here we can also have women be part of the intelligence, because they can blend perfectly well. They don't have to do like particularly
Exactly.
risky things, but they can do a lot of the navigation stuff for the dudes, and like, here is your
Exactly.
next card and
That's
your
not a
next.
problem.
One thing also about drones also, right? They
One
are
minute.
geolocation locked. You can basically geolocation lock a drone. But again, the ones, so you cannot just recruit somebody in Russia to go fly a drone, but you have to customize this drone to basically override those geolock. Because most drones, I have a drone. I have like 3 different drones that I use for work, and some of them you have to get a special permission to fly in the air zone, in over airport. So which of by default those locations are already locked. You cannot fly in those zones. So those drones from Ukraine will have to be.
Oh, you know
have to
what?
have a software
I think
that
Ukrainian
basically-
hackers do this kind of job. I'm very confident on the ability of the Ukrainian people for the IT part of the problem.
Yeah, and finding
That's what I'm saying.
saboteurs
So
also,
what I'm saying
Russian
is- What I'm
saboteurs.
saying is this. What I'm saying is you cannot call Russia. You call somebody, hey, go to the nearest drone center, buy a drone, and attach this grenade to it. No, that's not going to work. The drone that you send there will have to be programmed to basically
Yes,
override
that I agree.
that
You have
drone.
like a truck through Turkey, through Georgia, and so on in Russia. Yes. Or from Belarus and so on. Yes, of course. The truck with the drone inside has to come from Ukraine. Yes. I think.
Yeah,
Or
definitely,
you
yeah,
can
so
3D
so
print
what-
a drone also. You can also make your own explosives at home. So you give them the good recipe.
I agree with Momiyeeni on this one. I think you need a drone with prepared for the mission before that.
Yeah, you can do it also. There are a lot of
But
possibilities.
you are
just
right
need to
about one
try
thing.
and
Could
look if it
prepare the
works or
drone
not.
in Lithuania.
Yeah,
Why not? You put the factory of drone in Lithuania and the problem solved.
yeah, exactly.
something is wrong.
About
If
what?
the Palestinians
Well,
were able to smuggle some paragliders, these are much bigger than these drones. I think the Ukrainians going to be able to smuggle some drones inside of Russia.
You just
Or
need a
they
small
can
truck to
attack
do
the
that.
paragliders
So,
Look,
crazy.
look,
I have one
all
question.
they may have to smuggle in is the motherboard of the drone. The motherboard,
Yeah.
that's what they have to smuggle in.
Yeah, the motherboard and the
motherboard is
engines maybe.
programmed Yeah,
Uh,
to basically to override the airlock, the zone lock.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it.
And the
Those-
Australians already have drones made of cardboard that they used also in Ukraine
Look at
already now.
But
Made of
hold on.
cardboard.
Hold on. One thing is if you want to improvise to make drones, but how difficult would it be to replicate the Russian drones? Because there's been some tensions near Georgia and stuff like that, and if you were already capable of blending in and infiltrating all the way down there, then maybe a few Russian drones starting a few attacks over there would be a little bit helpful push for our allies when they want to get involved.
Making
The
the
Russian
same
drone is
shape
very
of drones.
Well, the Georgians
Russian
want to get along, right? They're just having a little bit of an internal inertia, right? If we can push them and help them along, right?
I
We
think
send some
for
drones.
this kind of tricks, Azerbaijan would be a better choice.
Yeah.
Because they have more money, they have more help from the Arab country, they have more weight behind them. Azerbaijan.
But are they as inclined to join as Georgia because they are not
Or
as
if you
NATO
kill
as
the
Georgia?
people, or if you destroy the good asset, maybe.
Well, because as far as I
It's
can
going to
tell,
increase
Georgia.
the tension.
Well, because as far as I can tell, Georgia will be much more closer to Ukraine's position vis-a-vis NATO than, for example, Azerbaijan is. Azerbaijan is more its own thing, kind of.
What is your strategic aim in this operation? To increase tension or to create a second front?
Well, I mean, why not both? You
That's
don't
good.
want to strain the Russians.
Create a second front is very, very difficult. Increase tension, not so much.
Well, you already have a puppet state that is, I mean, a sovereign state that is already inclined for doing something with Russia, right? And it has already some external emotions coming from the United States.
Yes, but in 2008, they already tried in Georgia to do something stupid. And they were very, very afraid of the result. So, it's not going to work. But to raise the tension in the area, yes, I think it's double.
Well, but it could be one way to get our allies further involved instead of forgetting us, because, you know, it's sort of the middle way between Ukraine and the Israel-Palestine. You find Georgia, right? Like geographically, and it's also been like a place where our allies like to play, so we can kind of make them stick with us a little bit more if they kind of drag them into it a little bit more, and, you know, if they, you know, just like they did with us, they promised all these weapons, they gave us all these weapons. That's pedigree. You know, we haven't won, but we did get weapons. We did get HIMARS, and we did.
You know what? We
jazz.
don't even have to imitate the Russian drone. I'm sure that we have enough wreckage of Russian drone to create a new one from scratch with the wreckage of the destroyed one.
Yes, and then we just send our infiltrators over alongside the Russian-Georgian border, and then have all these Russian drones do their thing, and voila. Biden will say, "This is unacceptable. This is yet another attack against a sovereign nation, and we will have to send at least $150 trillion to Georgia." And voila, that will relieve our pressure.
Yeah, and also one thing that you need to do is destroy the corruption. Eliminate.
What? There is no corruption in Ukraine. What are you saying, please? And,
there is corruption in our country. You need to admit it.
No.
Destroy them, kill them.
No. I don't think there is a problem. Since I'm heavily corrupt Ukrainian guys, there is no corruption.
We need to. There are people that sending our weaponry to Palestine.
And in 2 minutes, you are going to say that to mobilize all the young children, all the teenage or children from the high-level guy in Ukraine to send them to the front line instead of Monaco and Chamonix and all the nice.
And MisterLambo, to your objection regarding these, this is, I get it. It can be perceived as corruption, but the Shadowi might actually be quite right, because you see, like when they are selling these weapons that they have been receiving, more or less, they are upselling the value, which is good for our economy. Sure, it goes into their pockets, but they are the ones ostensibly fighting for us, right? So it's good, right? Like it's upselling value. This is how we must maintain our economy, especially when we are in a war economy. And we have the commodity.
We cannot afford to give up to Western allies the impression that we have internal problem.
We just need to be very strong, very we know how do you say that? If somebody do something bad in your and that is not in your favor, like you ordered a lot of manpads, destroy helicopters, and somebody is selling them behind your back, you're not allowed to have that. So you need to destroy this type of people.
Yes, but it was me. Sorry.
Yeah, we're going to come after you. I know where you live.
No, but what we could do, we could sacrifice a few of useless guys in Kiev who was beginning to doubt about the Ukrainian victory and to accuse them of corruption. Then we create some kind of fake proof of this corruption. I don't think we need fake proof because I'm sure they are corrupted. And basically we purge all the guys who think we are not able to win, and we show that we are at the same time clearing corruption.
Yeah, exactly.
This role-playing thing is very strange.
But then comes the question then, because we might still be in that way resolving the manpower issue because we have taken some measures internally, but we then still remain with the issue that we generally do not have parity in artillery and air power, or like we can maybe temporarily get the regional parity, maybe even superiority in some limited sense, but the manpower issue is maybe just going to be prolonging it. We need to. This is why I'm saying we need to kind of get Georgia involved, and maybe this thing with Israel and Palestine is good business, man. I mean, we should just get more weapons from the West, sell it to the Palestinians, have that make, because then
No. We need Israeli defense system against the drone. So we need to be on the Israeli side. It's quite the opposite. We need to show a firm attitude against Hamas terrorists. Was basically like the Russians. They are killing children, most of them.
Well, but we do need to actually put quite a lot of conviction into the Israelis here, because I'm pretty sure they're keenly aware that if they start sending more or less advanced weaponry to us, then the Russians are inclined to send. Then they don't have to send advanced weaponry. They just have to send something that the Hamas and such can respond with. So I'm not really sure if the Israelis are going to be too keen. That's one of the reasons they've been hesitant of sending, anything more than humanitarian aid.
No, I think Ukraine need to be firmly on the Israeli side. What do you think, Guy? Did Ukraine support Hamas or Israel?
Me personally, I'm coming from the point of view of an occupying forces in my country, excuse me. So from that perspective, I would never support Israel.
Yeah, I was about to say that, and especially if you look on emotions on the street, and you gotta have like the emotions and the optics, because that's really...
Nothing. You cannot compare Israel and Russia. Russia is evil, Israel is good. Please, one is a dictator, the other one is through democracy. Netanyahu is a good guy, obviously. Please. No?
Yeah, but you can counterbalance it, because here you have like the people who have been. You have a lot of people who are probably pro-Ukraine for the exact same reason they're pro-Palestine. So if you are Ukrainian, we go outwardly for supporting Palestine with all these emotions that are going on the streets across Europe and North America.
But the street is not to give us F-16. The guy was going to give us F-16 are USA.
No, but they're going to give popular support.
We need to be friends with USA government, so we need to be friends with Israel.
It is going to be giving popular support to our merchants.
And the sooner Israel deal with the problem in Gaza Strip, with a lot of bombs and a lot of civilian death, but who cares? And they are going to be able to help us, since we have support them at least in the media.
Well, I think you're right, actually, thinking about it, because as soon as we stop supporting Israel, which, Israel has the access to the United States, that's really, it's not the money, as we have already concluded, it's the access of weapon.
You could forget the 16. They are going to Israel.
So we cannot actually go outwardly against Israel, because then we will lose not just the money, but also the weaponry access as well. Yeah,
I have a question for you. I have a question for Israel. What if, because there's a possibility, more possibility than ever, the US basically see it's a whole new world. Basically, they have lost the swagger they had, so now they have to run back home to America. What happens to Israel?
You have to understand one thing. Israel, at this point, is going to continue the war, whatever happens.
No.
What is going to happen is the economy is going to crash.
Are we switching?
That's a sad thing, but it's going to happen. But the war is going to continue.
We don't care so much about the Israelis or the Palestinians here. We care about Ukrainians. That's how we're going to get. Right, and so we have established that we must support Israel. That there's nothing we can do more there. We just have to support Israel. Maybe make some extra bank on the side by selling some low-grade weaponaries to Hamas and such. But there's not really much we can milk out of that cow. So, I mean
Hey, you know what? We could sell back on the black market to the Israeli army all the stuff that American give us. I'm sure that they need artillery munition and they need Storm Shadow and whatever.
Oh, right. And there we
would be so fun.
But this was a great idea, because then you're supporting Israel and you're also putting them on the bind. Here you have actually provided them weaponry to help them with the war. And now, hey, Israel, why are you not returning the favor? Yeah, because now we get Israel actually to return the favor. That's a brilliant idea. Yes.
And we need their drone defense system that I'm sure they are looking for today.
The Iron Dome of Israel.
No, Iron Dome is not a solution against very cheap drone.
Okay, but this has to be pushed fast track, right? You have to take some advanced weaponry. It doesn't have to be a lot, nothing game changing for anyone really. It just has to be sufficient to be symbolic and enough to type, and that will be enough. You land it on their shores, and they'll be like, "Here, we can't let you be subjected to this terrorism and all that kind of stuff."
Exactly.
And then the Israelis will be much more compelled to return the favor.
Terrorist is basically using Russian weapon like AK-47.
Yes, yeah, exactly. I mean, they're obviously Russian.
They are evil. It's that's the proof.
Well, they're Arab Russians, obviously. So I guess.
Yes.
All right. Well, so
it's very true, very, very.
So how long, just to kind of just gauge a little bit and summarize, how long into this war have we discussed ourselves into the resisting Russia? We have fought now for like 5 or 10 years.
But if you have that extra military personnel, you can prolong that for the long you want to.
No, don't forget one thing. It's going to be over after the spring offensive. Okay? So next summer, Crimea is free. No, not free, because we are going to demilitarize it and let the Russia do something stupid.
Yeah. So the
We have
thing is,
to let something to
yeah,
Putin
so
because,
the thing is,
okay,
like I said in the beginning, if you have everything very fast, everything in big numbers, you can do the game changing. But if you have per 10, you don't going to go
I think we still need a
to
few
have per
cases
100.
with the drone problem and the Air Force problem. If you could solve
I
that,
was Ukraine,
yes, I agree with you.
if I was Ukraine, I would switch to guerrilla warfare against the Russian forces in Ukraine. Yeah, not to take any more territories, but to stop moving forward. Yeah,
It's difficult because with frontline system today, to infiltrate fighters on the other side is very difficult.
no. When I say guerrilla warfare, of course, with the drones, and basically not trying to take any more territories, not trying to move forward, but basically trying to hold them where they are and just basically pound them.
Doing the same like they're doing now. Just dig your in and wait that they come to you.
Yep.
Mr. Lambo, I have a
Yeah.
question for you. You might be able to answer this possible vulnerability among Russian troops. Because, they are kind of cycling, but they're not also, like, even if they're on a mission for, let's say, 6 months, they still have a break intermittently and so forth. And so they have to go somewhere where they party, gotta meet some ladies, and, women empowerment here, like intelligence, acquiring information and stuff like that. I'm not really sure how that work. Does anyone know, like, with the Russians when it comes to when they rotate and have their break? Is it possible to find out where are the concentration of these troops and officers that can be to optimize our drone striking and such, and to again employ.
I think it's the job of the spy. The spy are doing, of course, a lot of job, but I don't think we need to enter in the detail of the spy job.
Oh, you know what you also can do?
Go ahead, Lambo.
It's very. You need to be very low with that because you can do some chemical warfare. If you have a product that you can spray over them and they all became gay in the trenches, you're all going to be shooting themselves and each other. You're not going to be busy watching Ukrainians, so we can attack and kill them.
Yeah. Okay.
It's a true story. They did that in Vietnam with drugs. They sprayed it on their own military. The Americans sprayed that over their own military, so they dropped some bombs that exploded high in the air, and it was drugs, and they all became local for a big period.
Are you talking about a gay bomb?
Gay bomb.
But answer Mr. Coppin.
It wasn't a gay bomb, it was a drugs bomb. It was, they became local. Because hallucinating and that.
Not gay as in happy. Okay.
I think most of them goes home when they're relieved. They go actually to their portional houses when they're relieved from the front.
Yeah.
The reason I'm saying this basically from previous videos on the internet of Russian forces being basically just doing regular things, walking around homes and on videos. Some of them we sit on their own Telegrams or other places basically talking about, I just got home yesterday. So there's a video actually, a woman, her son came from the front line and they were all celebrating and cheering. He was there on a temporary break. And of course, the follow-up video was, okay, he's here for a break and we'll be going back to the front. So I don't know for fact, but my assumption is when they release them from the front, they go back, they merge into society. They don't concentrate them in certain camps or they hold them to. I don't think so.
But speaking of those that you did notice that they went back, where did they go? I mean, because this is, are they from Donbass and the DPA or whatever those abbreviations are, or did they go back to, let's say, Moscow or Siberia?
The ones I saw, one of them was all the way from the northeast section. That's where that time was. I forgot the time. That time that they're saying that they get a bunch of people from. I forgot what it's called. Yeah, this is a further out. When I look at the map back then, it was very further out. So yeah, this is, I think they go completely back to where they came from for the break and they come back front line. Of course, if you're from the DPA, I think you just stay there in DPA or maybe go to external relatives in Russia. Because now, of course, now that Russians, they can actually go anywhere in Russia to go break for that break. That's what I'm assuming because I've never seen.
Because I'm just thinking, like, if they were from the far east of Russia, because Russia is pretty huge, right? So But are you sure these were just having a break, or they were on a rotation? Because as far as I understand it, when they are kind of on the mission and meant to be on special military operation, they rarely have the opportunity to actually wander far. They may have breaks, of course, they're not necessarily on the front line, right?
Okay, that you may be wrong now. I don't know why it could be a break, because that was too far away to be back there tomorrow morning. You're right. That could definitely be a break. That could be like a break from fighting or whatever it was. But you could say he was coming home for a long time. At least not for the next 1 month. At least he come for at least for a few weeks or a few months at least, because that's the vibe I got from him. So when I just, he was talking with a bunch of subtitles, I couldn't keep up. But from what I was able to gather, he was basically home and we're going back soon, just to see the family and blah 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 and all that stuff. Yeah, and also another video also was not getting a restaurant, because some, I guess, he said this is our first time in Moscow. I had to come to visit because I had some free time from the fighting, so I'm going around. I come to see Moscow for the first time. So he didn't go. He may have not gone back all the way home, or he may have gone and come back to Moscow. Maybe he stopped in Moscow. But I don't think Russia holds them, in a specific area where they confine them to. That's what I'm saying.
Okay, well, but then speaking of then having them, let's say whether they are on because it seems to me that we can't really, maybe intermittently find some viable concentration of targets where they're having a break. And this is useful. If you can strike them while they're having a break, that will terrorize them even further. And so, well, I mean, speaking of terror, how about one starts to strike the soldiers themselves back home?
Oh,
the women perhaps have some poison, perhaps.
You can sabotage the transport method.
That's not going to work.
Why not?
Trying to sabotage the railway lines as much as possible.
They can arm them to basically start shooting back. And that's going to be a very ugly thing to see.
But how are they going home? Do they take the train? I guess so.
Yeah.
So we need to find a way to sabotage the railways as much as possible inside of Russia.
Ukraine is not doing that. I'm really surprised. Ukraine have bombed the skyscrapers in Moscow, and there's a train that's go day and night bringing weapons and supply in to the front line.
Yeah.
The train track is easy to destroy.
I think the train sabotage has a difficulties that we don't understand, because nobody is doing it. Russia is not doing that. Ukrainian is not doing that. So they should have a difficulty that we don't understand.
The train. Russia is bombing train track, but train track is quick to fix.
No, they only one train and it was in the station.
No,
they were busy unloading 2 trains. I think they were busy unloading some tanks.
Yes.
And
when the train is on course, they are not targeted. I don't know why. There is something that we don't understand about it, I think.
They did some sabotage on Russian trains on the side of Mariupol. Mariupol did. No, not Mariupol. It was on Crimea.
Yeah.
There were a few sabotages of Ukrainians to Russia.
Yeah,
but not a lot.
But it was direct attack with the guy on site who put an explosive on the way.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. With that, okay. Yes, but there is no missile attack against train, drone attack against train. I don't see that.
No.
Okay. You don't attack the track. You attack the train itself, the engine.
The engine or even the track.
No, it's not easy because they don't do it. So there is a difficulty that we don't.
Easy to fix. The engine is hard to come by, but the track is easy to fix. You can fix the track.
Yeah, but if you can blow out the track, the engine is not going to drive on the track anymore. Just look back in the history again with Second World War as a bad example. They sabotaged a lot of train tracks, and it was like if the train was passing a certain point, it was clicking on the device. The track 100 meters further is going to explode, and the train is going to derail.
Yes, but you need people on site. That's a special operation, okay?
Yeah,
but I mean with missile or drone. With missile or drone, I don't see any train attack.
You can do a drone. You can damage a track with a drone. There's no problem.
No, you can't.
Yes, but have you seen it?
No, because they don't do it. We are stupid.
I mean,
that's what I'm saying.
We are stupid. We didn't try it. We need to try it to see.
But the question is, why are they not trying?
Yeah,
they are not trying because there is something we don't understand.
No. What I'm saying is this, if you attack the track, because all the Russian military train it has a forward escort that inspect all those things before the train get there.
No, it's impossible to do. It's impossible to do on every track. You just need to have one drone with an RPG round on it.
No.
And the track is gone.
Yeah, you can attack. When they're gonna, because again, you don't know the schedule of this train. So if you have intel telling you the train is coming, if you attack the engine, you cause more damage than if you attack the track. If you attack the track, even if
you can also do that. You can fire a drone with your RPG.
There is something that we don't understand about that. So there is a missing information somewhere.
Yeah. No, because you have to attack the physical engine, which is very hard to predict the movement.
I agree with you, but if they don't do that for 2 years, there is something that we don't know.
So I can come with one thing I can suspect is the reason, because you will need to know when the trains are going and you will need to see them, and so this makes the drones susceptible to being taken down, and they may indeed have even tried, and then that hasn't done much, because like Momiyeeni is saying is actually kind of true. You can disable the track, but because of the forward escorts and because there are already like repair crews that can fairly easily fix it, you're only going to delay. You're not really going to damage. What you really want to do is take out these engines, and you can't. It's much. I would assume more difficult than to hit, like do it in the trench where you already have everything heated with observation posts. If you're trying to keep a track on the railroad line, they're going to see your drones, any observers that you have there. They're not going to be. Well, maybe they will be Russian, but they won't be doing that at first.
But there is a difference between attacking an engine and attacking a track while that engine is driving. Because if you're directly attacking the engine, you're not going to make derail the train. You're just going to stop it. And then you're going to come with another engine, you attach it on the back of your train, and you're going to pull it away. So and if you you need to be able to derail the train. So you need to attack the track. And you can do with the same drone, with the same round, you can attack the track. You see the train driving. And at 100 meters
want to add something about the train. There is a big difference between today and World War II about the train system, is that today a train can detect if the rail is cut in front of him. Basically, in every rail, you have a small electricity in the rail, and if you detect it. And immediately the train is automatically going to stop.
Yeah, but if you have your train driving at, I'd say something, 100 kilometers per hour, and you're following that train with your drone.
That's what I say. You need
meters. No, but the train
way is to have a guy with a detonator.
Listen, Shadowi, listen. A train is not able to stop in 100-meter distance.
Yes, I know that.
Yeah, but the signal,
you attack the rail in front of it. That train is going to derail.
So tell me why no one did it.
10 miles ahead, the track
because we didn't think about it.
No, please. They are military guys. They know more about supply strikes that we know in all of your life.
And also something.
You are very thinking they're stupid.
The Russian train that's going is an actual armored train. It's actually armored. The engine is actually protected. The Russian train that's actually exporting the forward export and the rear engine is armored train. They are designed to really they expect to be shoot at with RPG rounds in the engine, because you can fix the track quicker than you can fix the engine. A train engine can derail today, you put it back on the track and then move forward, so long the engine is not damaged. But
but if you're derailing, your engine is gone. It's bye-bye. It can be armored. It can be so solid that you want that engine is going to be on your sides. Yes, that is how derailing works.
Yeah, once you back up, it runs again.
Yeah, but that takes time. You fix easier. That takes time, of course.
How long you take?
MisterLambo is right. If you derail the train, the railroad system is blocked for at least half a day. And half a day in a military supply system, it's a disaster.
That's half a day. Half a day.
But if you're just destroying the locomotive, if you're just destroying the locomotive, you take another locomotive and you can tow it. You just attach the locomotive to your destroyed locomotive, and you just can tow it.
But how much does a locomotive cost compared to a drone?
compared to
No,
So
it's
very
more
curiosity
complicated
is
than that
public,
because
you know?
if the locomotive is destroyed and burning, you have to check the rail, you have to do a lot of things, okay? And but it's complicated. That's why I think it's very strange that we have not seen it before. There's
They
something
did
that
it
we
a
are
few
missing.
times. They did it a few
We have to
times.
speak with the specialist of this problem because something we are missing. It's
Something
just
is
too
really
simple
missing.
and too easy as a solution for them to not already think
Because
about it.
The train
Well,
is a moving target. A
one
moving
logic
target
here.
or war zone is a very hard hit target. The train is moving. So you have to have somebody.
And I
physically-
think they are moving at night too.
Even they did.
Only at night.
There's many videos. There's a video of
But
RT.
if you
RT
just have somebody or something to just destroy the track when the train is driving at 100 kilometers per hour with 20 wagons full of tanks,
Yes.
and you
I agree.
manage to destroy the track.
The guy with the
100 meters
detonator
before the
on
train
the
is
Google
coming.
to look at when the train
Yeah.
arrives, you press the button.
Actually,
That's working. I want to do something.
Actually, Shadowi's point should actually really be seriously addressed because I don't think not have thought about it is sufficient, right? Because think about the Russians. Why have they not done it? Now, I can think of one thing. For them, it is just much easier to have the forces mustered before they get their artillery into bear because that's where they have superiority. But there's no such rationale on the Ukrainian side, as far as I can tell. We need them to actually be weakened so we can have our successful offensive. And so why are like how difficult is it, for example, like how strong of a drone do you need to take out the locomotive? I imagine just as strong as taking a tank would suffice.
You
How much
just
would it
need
take to
the
take out the
drone
track?
RPG rounds. That's
No,
it.
the
RPGs is there to go
track
through
is-
a tank.
RPG round can take out a track, as I said. An RPG round can take out a track. I mean, but the locomotive.
You
the
just
ones-
need to
the
damage
ones-
the track. You just need
Yeah.
to have enough to derail your fucking train. That's it.
The question is the timing. You have to
Yeah.
do it
Yeah.
just before the train arrives.
Yeah.
You cannot.
While he's
Wait.
driving, you just poof. And a train needs like a half a kilometer to stop. Needs more
Yeah.
than 500 meters to stop at certain speeds.
Yeah.
So
Go
if
to-
you're
go to
able to
RT.com,
destroy your track
go to
100 meters before the train is driving before it, you don't need to destroy the whole
It's just
track.
about the timing.
There's one
For
part
the
of the train
timing to be this
okay?
good, you need to know
Yeah.
about the train before they arrive. You need to.
Yeah.
Basically, you need to have a team on site.
Yeah, of course.
And
So
that's what
it's
I'm
not a
saying.
drone operation. It's a
That's what I'm
special.
saying. So,
Yeah,
Force
special
operation.
infiltration, a special
Okay.
infiltration.
what I'm saying is this: if you have somebody close to the track, the forward protection group will find the person. If you put a device on the track, forward protection group will find that device. So you have to run when the truck is coming, when the forward movement have passed, to come in and derail the escort, the cargo in the back, because the forward train is completely by itself. It have a bunch of AA machine guns and it have a bunch of military inside. They can stop anytime. They're not going fast. They are ahead of the train by miles. They can stop, inspect, or they can call the train back to stop. They can stop the train.
No, they are
behind them.
they are
No,
driving
but
at
RT
certain speeds.
No, go to RT. You see a whole documentary on this. Go to RT.com. There's a video on this. They bought the train track from the station all the way. They had the forward protection convoy that basically goes through the track, and they have an armored train. It's called an armored train. Right? Just go on RT. You see the whole video. I was really impressed. So they have the rear cargo. That's a whole different engine that brings the cargo. They have the front, but they can stop anytime. The front one is just a bunch of military men. They see any funny thing, they can stop, come down, inspect it, and continue. So you have to have some on the ground that they did not see. Once they pass, then you can put a charge on the rail and hit the cargo in the back. This is very difficult for Ukraine to do.
But
That's
such
what
an
I'm
asset, sounds to me as also very expensive, and because it's a specialized asset, is it not? So I would
Yes,
imagine
it
that
is.
if you use a drone attack on that, you get kind of a similar payoff as if you take a drone attack on a tank. Plus, you interrupt logistics. And I also imagine that because you just dropped this thing about having men, because like you said, the forward troops, this is very risky. They're very likely to get caught. But drone attacks, you don't need to go very, very far to make sure to compel the Russians to go further back. And this will be enough for them. If they just find out they get too much harassment, by the drones on their tracks, that their engines are taken, their tracks are interrupted all the time, and also not only when they are interrupted, then they are subjected to swarm attacks, where their cargo, if their cargo happens to have tanks and whatever they have on it, and artillery pieces, guns, so forth, they get smashed to pieces as well, as much as possible. And that will compel the Russians to go further back, and thus enable, when we make a push, for example. But why haven't we done that, and why haven't they done that?
I really don't know. And it's always possible to do infiltrations. They already did it.
But is it fear of escalation if the Russians?
I think one of the answers is that the track is heavily monitored. They will patrol every time. They have a guy with a jeep and the SUV with along the track and patrol things, and they are looking for sabotage and filtration. I think that's one of the answers.
Yeah, but like I said,
heavily secured asset.
You'll be finding some poor Ukrainian civilians living in Russia, not far away of a track.
But you see one thing with that, Shadowi, is because while I understand that such a high priority asset will be highly secured, and thus it will be that much more difficult to take.
But MisterLambo is right. Inside Russia, it's another story. There is just too much track to keep.
Yeah, because I was just recalling Dugin, the woman Dugin, the woman of the daughter of Dugin, right? In Moscow, right? So they were to say, why not some railroad lines and so forth? Because the thing is that if we can get them to asymmetrically need to spend significantly more just on internal security, right? They can begin with closer to the front line, and okay, well then they have to man up more troops. But even better, the further down in we get it, and along all the, it's a matter of the more distance we make them respond. Because if it's here, they know that it could be from that here and Ukraine, right? So the further in we go, that distance they will have to kind of account for, and more.
Yeah, and I'm 100% sure they already did some attacks in the Crimea. They did some sabotages on trains in Crimea. I already saw footage of derailments of trains in Crimea, exploded locomotives. They already did it there. But yeah, like we were saying, like these factories, these depots of tanks in Russia, they are not close to the front line, so they need to arrive by train, and there need to be a solution to find something to be able to play the saboteur in that, and that's going to be game changer if you can bully the Russians with that. I am 100% sure these 1,000 of kilometers of train tracks they have in Russia is impossible to monitor and surveil them. It's too much rail tracks. It's like that we
have to use a lot of men to do that.
Yeah, it's the same like surveying a highway from here to Paris, from Brussels to Paris. It's impossible to protect that highway from Brussels to Paris. It's impossible to protect it at 100%. It's impossible.
And for that, you need two teams. You need first one team to scout which train is coming, and a few kilometers after that, you need another team to blow up the way when the train is just in front of it.
Exactly. Or the same team does that but with a drone.
Yeah,
more complicated.
Because
you may have to wait weeks at the railroad before military train come.
Yeah.
So,
I just posted a video to the group of a Russian military train escort.
Yeah, I know, but you need to take care of which one you use to compare. Yeah, I know it. I know that. Yeah, I know. But it's impossible to survey a rail track continuously at 5 kilometers per hour if you have your cargo train driving at 100 kilometers per hour. It's impossible to continuously, and inside the country, like middle of Russia, you don't going to see these trains.
That is true. That is true. If you go further back, yes.
Where you destroy your track doesn't matter. You just need to derail that fucking train that need to go to Ukraine. That's it.
If you go definitely if you go further back,
and it can be, it happens. and we just don't see it because they don't publish it.
That's true too. That is true. That is 100% true. You're right.
So we just don't
You're
know,
right.
you know. Ah, Shadowi, that's good. That's good of you. Russia also have ballistic launch systems on rails also.
Yes.
They have a lot
remember
of on rails.
I
I
think
do-
what
I
is
do remember-
interesting is that they have a mine detector. I think some kind of a way to scan the under the way to detect mine, you know,
Yeah,
and to detect explosive.
yeah.
Yeah. This is why you need like 20 drones hitting this thing right here. Really?
Yes,
Yeah,
but
that
to
one
attack
because
this
it's
train, you
driving
need
slow.
serious weaponry.
Yeah.
You don't want to attack this one. You want to attack the second one. We know the new tiny T80s on it.
Okay. This was the weather I was talking about. The weather right there. That's the weather I was talking about when I said about wild. If it get a very bland little winter where it get very foggy, the drone is useless. Yeah. So if it get very cold to where it get very foggy everywhere, like it happens in Ukraine, the drone are useless.
Look at the speed of the train. They are not going fast. Huh? They are going
yeah.
very slowly. Huh?
Yeah.
So they are able to brake if there is a problem on the way.
Yes.
Yeah.
They have
And
have
the
everything on
first
Yeah, they have everything on board. They have tracks on board. They have engineers on board to replace the track, just like. And if they suspect, they'll come down and check the rail for bombs and explosives. Yes,
But your cargo train is driving behind them.
yes, it's coming behind. It's coming behind. Yeah,
Yeah.
but again, it's not coming fast enough the way it cannot brake quick enough because it's not urgent delivery. This is
But
reserved.
the cargo train is going to drive faster. This one is driving
No,
slower.
no.
We don't care about
No.
that one.
The cargo train doesn't go fast. Just fine. The
No,
cargo train doesn't
it's
go.
impossible to bring a cargo train that needs to drive 1,000 kilometers from the factory where all the tanks are, going to Ukraine 1,000 kilometers at 10 kilometers per hour. It's going to drive at least between 50 and 100 kilometers per hour.
Don't forget, this is not urgent delivery. This is reserve. This is backup materials. It can be there next week for all the kit.
No,
This
not
is-
for the front line. Even ammunition. We're not
Look at
speaking
the
only
guns.
about tanks. We're speaking about ammunition.
Look at what the guns mounted there. They seem like something that could be taking out quite a lot, aircrafts, helicopters, drones. But it don't seem to be very numerous though. So it's not the insurmountable, especially if you do a drone attack. But all the armament, the armor. I mean, the armor. It seems certainly heavily armored. Like you need heavy duty drones to have a chance with this one.
Yeah,
That
but
is
this
heavy-
one we don't care.
And heavy duty drones are fairly easy to detect, are they not?
No, this one you
Yeah,
have to
but
burn.
that train we don't care. There's a cargo train.
This one you have to burn. You cannot bomb it. You have to find out that.
No,
that
this
just
one you
fire
need to
it.
leave
No,
alone.
no, I agree with Mr. Lambo. You should not strike this one because you have to strike the one with the T80s, the shiny new T80s.
Yeah. That one you leave alone. Don't care.
That's just a few soldiers and a few state on a basic locomotive.
Yeah.
This has no military value. But if you could destroy 5 T80s in a train, that's way better.
That is true. That is true because the Russian will basically say, "Hey, we have no long-range bomber for World War III." They will panic.
This guy is a train specialist, obviously, but I think Russia has a lot of them.
Yeah. I also need to consider Russia. There's the mindfuck actually. Russia is planning to build a new railroad in the occupied zone of Ukraine.
Yep.
They are going to do second roads
They
because
are
the
going to
first
do
road is
everything.
too close to the shore and they're too easy to be attacked.
And they are
So
going to
we
make
know
sure
that
that there
the
is
train
all
is
the
very
safety
important.
system to avoid sabotage.
Yeah.
But for example, the bridge that it crossed there and such. Let me see if I can get myself to.
Already been proven that bridges are very vulnerable.
Right, so
Yes,
it was crossing a bridge back here.
I
like
think they
here.
could have a few mine or a few traps around the bridge to avoid problem if
Well,
someone
no,
wants to try something stupid.
So there was a dude here below here who was this guy here. He was poking. I'm not really sure why he's like. Why is he poking that stake? That didn't make a lot of sense. Is he looking for
He's looking for something who's buried underground, I think.
like remote
Because the
control?
detector he has a detector at the same time, on his torso, and the detector I think has detected something, so he's trying to take the things with the item.
Yeah.
We don't see the detector there, but he has one. Yes, we see it there. He has a detector.
I like
And
this.
don't forget, he's in camera. So basically, he's mimicking his true job. It's just for the video,
Right, but there is. Wait, shit. There's this thing that someone said. Chester said that. Okay, screw this. Fast enough. I got bothered with this. Let's see. There was a little bit with the Telegram screen and stuff on top there.
We have
well.
to stop the video, sorry, but I'm going to sleep now.
Yes, I was about to
It's 2
say.
in the morning for us.
Yeah, it's 2.
I'm working tomorrow. I'm working from home, but I'm still working.
Yeah, I got it. So
Same. But I think that topic was pretty good.
Yes, it was
I
very
think
fun
we
to
can
make this
save
kind of
Ukraine now. If the NATO is going to listen to us, we're going to save Ukraine.
yeah, and if you are,
But I warn you, I'm not doing the same thing for Hamas, okay?
do you guys have any final words before we ask NATO for some financial support?
Ukraine is
DPA,
going to lose, but it's going to last a long time. They are not going to lose very quickly.
as we have outlined, many ways to fight back.
No, it's just that the Russian is not going to go very quickly because they don't need it, and it's too expensive to go quickly in this kind of war.
Yeah, they have time.
Exactly.
They really have time. That's the thing. And they're going to make that. And that's what I'm saying about the troops. After a while, Ukraine going to be maybe only women fighting on the front because all the men are going to be dead or flee the country. And that's going to be a very big issue. The longer the war is going to continue, Russia has a lot of stock of people. They have much more citizens.
So here was actually one of my initial ideas of how Ukraine can win. While they are still having the ability to kind of resist, they know where this is going. But as we've had this discussion on coups, I had to look a little bit more into coups, generally speaking, and what Zelensky could do, and is already kind of accused of doing, is self-coup, which is basically you're elected into office and then you stay there with illegitimate means, which is what Zelensky is kind of considered to do. So if he can self-coup again, so he can take out those who will otherwise prevent him from not only making a deal with Russia, but make a deal that Russia cannot resist, namely, we will be the equivalent of your NATO ally. We will not only be neutral, we will flip completely. We will do everything we will crawl over and be your frontline soldiers, just like you will.
Ukrainian official do that, but not Zelensky.
Zelensky just needs to take care of his own skin, and this is probably one of his ways to do it.
He needs to run very quickly.
I mean, if he takes a 180 and only ends the war and he goes in for a treaty.
About what's going to happen to Zelensky. I think most people think he's going to be killed by his own team, basically.
Right, that's why he has to self-coup before he gets couped. It's a coup party.
Not a coup, it's going to be an assassination.
Right, that's a coup.
When he's going to try to flee, he's going to be killed because the Ukrainians need a new martyr. And they are going to say that it's Wagner.
It's very strange that nobody already tried to kill him.
Maybe they tried.
Maybe they tried.
I think it's just because he's so convenient with but he might be killed now because he's wandering around and getting money. It's not really working as much as it did, so maybe they will need a new face, I guess.
I think the propaganda works also too well.
And I think that the Russia, to destroy the Ukraine military strength, need Ukraine to stay together. If Ukraine explodes and is divided, you cannot easily destroy every little block they have. So you need a united Ukraine to simply fight it, basically.
Yeah.
And that's what's happening now.
We have a lot of unanswered questions, and it's
Yes, but,
for me it's still mind blowing
yeah,
that the war is just continuing.
Just that the war is continuing. But also, speaking of continuing, maybe this recording should be ending. Momiyeeni, you got something to say before I stop the recording? Get on camera, please. Oh, there.
Yeah, okay, no, again. So I'm for the first time out here on the Ukrainian side of how we can beat Russia. But before we close, let me make sure I do my correction. Ukraine, if you're watching this, if you take my ideas, you have to pay me. If you're not gonna pay me, Russia gonna kick your ass.
Corruption.
Yeah, you see, that's from Africa. Corruption was raised here. It was born overseas and was raised here in Africa. Oh, we love corruption. We nurture corruption. We groom corruption. Like, yeah, I wasn't allowed to enter Burkina Faso, right? Very funny story. They said, oh, for security reasons, I couldn't enter. Then I went to Mali and I just walked right through.
Oh my God! Seriously?
Yeah, I couldn't go through Ivory Coast to Burkina Faso. I said, I have a business here. I should have all my parents said no, for security reasons you couldn't enter. I think it happened a week when someone trying to cool traveling. So I went to Mali, back from Ivory Coast, went up to Mali. Mali went back to, we would drive right through and get to Burkina Faso. I'm like, see?
I'm glad you mentioned that, because I was considering trying to see if I'm going to Ghana in the end of January, and I was hoping maybe within my trip I could take a trip to Burkina Faso, but you said they just basically locked their borders.
Do not come from any country that's against them. Come from friendly countries, you walk right through.
Okay, I'm trying to figure out what Norway stands for.
You know who to call.
Okay, but hold on. We gotta end this recording. So, to those of you who have been watching, we hope you enjoyed this post recording of the after the open mic live stream, and we hope to maybe be making more of these. That others of the lounge would also like to participate in these on a more regular basis. And yeah, it was definitely fun trying to be the devil's advocate here and pro Ukraine.
I liked it a lot. It was a
right,
fun
because
it's out of the box.
It forces
Next
you
time
to
we are going to make how Taiwan is going to invade China.
So, but we have actually several questions that we're ready. Like, for example, what if Africa sanctions Europe? You know, then could be a very interesting. Like, what prevents them? What could it do? What would be effects, and etc. etc. So, anyways, those of you in the audience watching, if you enjoyed this and you want to interact, you can first and foremost, of course, leave a comment down here. And you can join us on the open mic, which streams on weekends, most weekends at least. And from there on, you can get access to the private Telegram group where we have conversations such as looser conversations like these. Sometimes we go a little bit more in depth, and yeah, a little bit of everything.
Don't take that recording too seriously, please.
This was what you. Oh, yeah, I really hope that you folks watching did understand that this was one of our more joking videos. I'm gonna put a disclaimer actually in the description that none of us actually believe that Ukraine can win this war, but we're gonna do our best to see how Ukraine can win this war. This is what we tried. This was our exercise. We hope you enjoyed it. We thank you especially for supporting Defense Politics Asia on Patreon, Ko-fi, Locals, and Boosty. If you could find it in somewhere who would like to watch our videos here and share it, please do. Press that like button because we'll like you even more so. But all things being equal, thank you all for watching. Till lunch. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Yeah.
He's still recording.
You need to stop the recording.